about the characteristics of each one of these fillers here, so that if you're using different ones and you're wanting to try them out, this will help you kind of figure out where you could use this stuff and have it work out for you. My favorite out of all three of these is definitely the USC AG 47. It sands faster than the other two, which is nice. But in order for it to sand faster, you have to let it dry really good. So it's kind of the opposite. Like if you use a production filler, a cheap filler, the 13, 15 buck one or whatever, honestly, I would steer you towards one of these. But if you're using that, you find that after you use it, you have to sand it like right as soon as, you have a window of like a 2-hour period to sand it, and after that, man, it gets so freaking hard you can't. It just comes out lumpy. It doesn't shape or anything. So, okay, that rule of sanding it a couple hours after kind of applies to the gold. So if you're using gold and you go, man, this stuff doesn't sand for crap, I've had guys go, they all say these different fillers, this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work very good, blah, blah, blah. Okay, try them this way and then see if they work. That filler, the gold, if you sand it about an hour to 2 hours, in that window after it's been applied, so it has to be completely dry, really, really completely dry. And then instead of sanding it with 80, go to 150 or sand it with 120. So crazy 120. It seems to like finer paper. So I'm just telling you, that's what I found. That filler likes finer paper. Z-grip. Okay, Z-grip doesn't really care if you're using 80 or if you're using 150. It still sands pretty quickly. But the key thing I found with it is the opposite of the old filler. So if you put on the cheap filler, the really cheap production filler, and you left it overnight, the next day, man, you might as well just get out a piece of 40 grit and a polisher or sander and just sand it down real quick and then just recoat it, because it's just not going to sand. So it'll take you forever to sand something. So, but if you use Z-grip or AG47, those fillers you can apply the night before. Say let's say you're going to sand tomorrow. You go and you do a bunch of fills the night before, and then you go back the next day or the next week, or it can be on there a long time, and that stuff sands better than if you just wait a 2-hour period. So the AG47 is the same. So they kind of have the same thing, but the difference is the AG47 definitely sands faster than the Z-grip. So those are just a couple little things you might want to try. AG47 definitely likes a fine paper too. It's kind of like it. So try a few different things. The reason I'm trying to say this is, before you say, oh, one filler's no good, this one's really good, try different things. Try using a finer paper on it. Try using, because it's not always the coarser paper works on some of the fillers. Some of them fillers like finer paper. So you want to try that before you give up on it. So yeah, I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up. The AG47, you can use a heavy paper on it if it's not quite fully dry and you're trying to just knock it down real quick. But if you let it dry for a good solid hour or two, then it sands a whole lot easier than if you try and sand it, like the cheap fillers. But letting it dry longer with the USC AG47 and the Z-grip is definitely the key to make them work better. When I did my comparison of the Evercoat Gold and the Evercoat Z-grip, I had both of them sand, I was sanding them both an hour after. The Z-grip does work, on short sand, pretty well. But the Evercoat Gold only works, if you let it sit overnight. It still sands easier than the cheap stuff, but it does make a huge difference in the way it sands and shapes. It takes a lot longer. I mean, it still shapes really nice. I mean, Evercoat Gold's a great product. All of these are very good. But I would, if I were to only buy one, in which I'm gonna do from, I would buy the AG47. It actually has better specs as far as adhesion. It has a lot better things in it. You know, I think it even has some flexibility to it, where these ones here don't really. It actually, I think it has those specs in there. I forget all the specs right off of hand, but if you look at the data sheets on AG47, it's pretty shocking. It actually goes over E-coats and sanded E-coat and sanded epoxy primer, sanded, and it's specs for that. These ones here might work going over them, but this product actually specs for it. These ones don't actually spec for it if you read the data sheets. They might say it on the label, but they don't say it on the data sheets. It says bare metal, and and it's designed for that. So, but the AG47 specs for it. So, I'm pretty positive that if they're going to put that on their spec sheet, that the stuff's pretty strong, as for pretty well adhering. All right, talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.